Think your pocket change is just worth a few cents? Think again. You're watching Legacy Coins USA, where we turn everyday coins into life-changing discoveries. Today, we are counting down the top 10 Washington quarter dollars that every collector is hunting for right now. We're going beyond the surface to find the legendary silver transitions, the hidden black beauty planchets, and the elite condition rarities that have sold for over $20,000. Action flash images of the years 1965, 1983p, 1966, and 1996D with money symbols. From major mint eras to the holy grail of the Denver Mint, these are the top 10 quarters that could be sitting in your jar at home. Stop spending and start searching. Let's dive into the legacy. Let's get started. The 1967 Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, often misunderstood by casual observers but deeply respected by serious collectors. At first glance, it may seem like a common coin, yet it represents a pivotal transition in the United States Mint's production. Struck during a period of massive coin shortages, these quarters were minted in staggering numbers, over 1.5 billion in total, to stabilize the economy. However, what makes the 1967 issue unique is the complete absence of mint marks. Whether the coin was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it carries no D or S, a strategy used by the government at the time to discourage collectors from hoarding specific mintages. While many people search for rare 1967 quarters, it is essential to understand the difference between standard business strikes and the special mint set SMS versions. Because the mint did not produce official proof sets between 1965 and 1967, they created SMS coins instead. These were struck with higher pressure on specially prepared blanks, resulting in a satin-like, almost mirror finish that is much sharper than a typical coin found in a pocket. For a YouTube audience, the treasure hunt begins with identifying these SMS strikes, as they are the primary targets for collectors seeking high-value specimens that look significantly better than regular circulation coins. The real money in the 1967 quarter market lies in the rare errors that escaped the mint's quality control. One of the most sought-after anomalies is the double die obverse, DDO, where you can see clear doubling on the letters of Liberty or the 1967 date. There is also a notable double die reverse, DDR, where the E pluribus unum and the eagle's feathers show distinct ghosting or doubling. Additionally, collectors go crazy for off-center strikes or coins struck on the wrong planchets, such as a quarter accidentally struck on a dime or a nickel blank. These dramatic mistakes can turn a 25-cent coin into a piece worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Interestingly, there is a specific market for bad condition or heavily circulated 1967 quarters if they possess certain transitional errors. While a normal worn-out 1967 quarter is generally worth only face value, collectors are always on the lookout for a 1967 quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet. Although the U.S. officially switched to copper-nickel clad in 1965, a few silver blanks from 1964 occasionally found their way into the 1967 presses. If your coin looks unusually bright, has a solid silver edge without a copper stripe, or weighs approximately 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams, you might be holding a transitional error that is highly demanded regardless of its physical wear. For those creating content for a collector audience, it is vital to mention the Deep Cameo DCAM designation. Within the special mint sets, a tiny fraction of coins was struck with such intensity that the portrait of Washington appears frosted and white, while the background of the fields looks like a dark, deep mirror. These DCAM 1967 quarters are the holy grail for the year. In high grades like SB68 or SB69, these coins have been known to sell for over $4,000. For a YouTuber, showing the visual contrast between a dull, circulated quarter and a deep cameo SMS quarter is the perfect way to explain why some 1967 coins are rare, while others are just pocket change. Regarding the specific phrase, E pluribus unum, this is part of the standard design found on the reverse back of all Washington quarters. It translates from Latin to out of many one. While this text is on every coin, collectors look for filled letters or die chips within this area. Sometimes the A in America or the letters in Annam become filled with metal due to a broken die. While these are minor errors compared to a double die, they are popular among cherry pickers, who enjoy finding unique variations that make their specific coin different from the billions of others in existence. In the current market, the demand for the 1967 quarter is driven by registry set collectors, people who try to own the highest graded example of every year. Because 1967 quarters were not issued in traditional uncirculated sets, finding a business strike, a regular coin intended for circulation, in perfect, flawless condition, is actually harder than finding an SMS version. If a 1967 quarter is sent to a grading service like PCGS or NGC and receives a grade of MS67 or MS68, its value skyrockets because of its condition rarity. Even without a mint error, a flawless, shiny 1967 quarter can be a centerpiece of a professional collection. To summarize for your video or collection, the 1967 quarter is a sleeper coin. It is not rare because of its age or its mintage numbers, but it becomes a treasure through its mistakes and its perfection. Whether it is a black beauty, a coin with an improperly annealed, darker planchet, a major double die, or a flawless MS68 specimen, the 1967 quarter proves that you don't always need a mint mark to have a coin worth a fortune. Always check the weight, look for the copper stripe on the edge, and use a magnifying glass to inspect the "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" for any signs of doubling. Keep a close eye on your change because that hidden treasure might be sitting right in your pocket. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a big find. Stay tuned because in the next video, we're diving into another legendary coin that could be worth a small fortune. Next coin. The 1973 Washington quarter holds a special place in the hearts of numismatists because it represents the final, normal, year of production before the United States began the transition to the iconic bicentennial coinage. While over 580 million of these coins were struck across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, finding one that meets the strict criteria of high-level collectors is a difficult task. For a YouTube audience, the narrative centers on the fact that 1973 was a workhorse year for the mint, meaning most of these coins were circulated heavily, making high-grade specimens extremely elusive and valuable to those building elite registry sets. One of the most exciting aspects for collectors regarding the 1973 issue is the distinct difference in minting quality between Philadelphia and Denver. Unlike the 1967 coins, which had no mint marks, the 1973 quarters clearly display a D for Denver or remain blank for Philadelphia. Interestingly, the Denver Mint produced significantly more quarters that year, yet MS67, Mint State 67, Philadelphia strikes often command a premium because the dies used in Pennsylvania were frequently worn down, resulting in mushy details. A crisp, sharp 1973 Philadelphia quarter is a true rarity that can fetch hundreds of dollars at professional auctions. For viewers looking for the big money strikes, the focus must shift to the 1973 S-proof quarter. These coins were never intended for circulation and were sold only in plastic-sealed sets for collectors. However, a very small percentage of these proofs feature a deep cameo finish, where Washington's portrait looks like it was sculpted out of white snow against a black, glass-like background. If a YouTuber can show the visual difference between a standard proof and a deep cameo, they are showing their audience a coin that can value upwards of $500 to $1,000, depending on the perfection of the strike. The 1973 quarter is also famous for a variety of mechanical doubling versus true double die errors. Many beginners get excited seeing ghosted letters on Liberty or the date, but true collectors are hunting for the rare 1973 double die obverse, DDO. This specific error shows clear, notched separation in the serifs of the lettering, caused by the die itself being engraved incorrectly. In a YouTube video, highlighting these microscopic details under a jeweler's loupe is the best way to keep the audience engaged. as these specific errors are what transform a 25-cent coin into a high-demand collector's item. Another rare phenomenon associated with 1973 is the incomplete punch or clipped planchet error. During the manufacturing process, the machines occasionally failed to cut the circular coin blanks perfectly, resulting in quarters that look like a bite was taken out of them. While bad condition coins are usually ignored, a 1973 quarter with a genuine mint error clip is highly sought after by error specialists. These collectors are less concerned with the shine and more concerned with the authenticity of the disaster, making these misshapen coins a highlight for any coin hunting channel. Collectors are also currently obsessed with tunning on 1973 quarters. When these coins were stored in original mint bags or certain types of paper albums for decades, the copper-nickel composition reacted with sulfur in the air, creating beautiful rainbows of blue, gold, and magenta on the surface. While a beginner might think a discolored coin is dirty or in bad condition, a professional collector sees monster tunning. These naturally pretty coins are rare because most 1973 quarters just turned a dull gray, so finding a rainbow-toned specimen is like finding a piece of numismatic art. The reverse of the coin, featuring the eagle and the phrase "E pluribus unum," is a prime spot for die clash errors in 1973. This happens when the two dies hit each other without a coin blank in between, causing the image of Washington's neck to appear faintly on the eagle's side or the eagle's wings to appear on Washington's face. This clash die error is a favorite for YouTube content because it tells a physical story of a machine malfunction at the mint. These coins are rare because quality control usually caught and destroyed them before they left the building. Finally, the 1973 quarter serves as a bridge to the bicentennial era, and many collectors look for transitional die varieties where the strike depth might vary. As the mint prepared for the massive 1776-1976 production, some 1973 quarters were struck with experimental pressures, leading to strong strike varieties where the eagle's chest feathers are incredibly detailed. For anyone watching a coin collecting video, the message is clear. Don't just look at the date, look at the luster, the errors, and the sharpness of the eagle's feathers, because a common 1973 quarter could actually be a rare treasure in disguise. Next coin. The 1983 P. Washington quarter is a true legend among modern American coins, holding a status that few other pocket change pieces can claim. While the mintage of over 670 million might suggest it is a common coin, the 1983 P is actually a massive rarity in high grades. This scarcity exists because the United States Mint did not produce official uncirculated mint sets in 1983. In a typical year, millions of pristine coins are preserved in these sets for collectors, but in 1983, every single quarter was released directly into circulation. Because of this, nearly every 1983 P quarter was immediately subjected to the scratches, dings, and wear of the real world, leaving almost no gem specimens for today's market. For a YouTube audience, the most shocking fact is the hidden value of a clean-looking 1983 P, while most quarters from the 80s are worth only 25 cents. A 1983 P in mint state 67, MS67, condition can sell for $500 to $1,000, and specimens that reach the nearly impossible MS68 grade have commanded auction prices as high as $15,000. Collectors are essentially in a frantic race to find the highest quality survivor of this lost year. For your video, you should emphasize that because there were no mint sets, finding a shiny, uncirculated 1983 P today is like finding a needle in a haystack of a billion coins. The P mint mark on this coin is a specific target for error hunters, as many 1983 P quarters feature a filled P or blob P error. This occurs when the center of the mint mark on the die breaks away, causing the letter P to appear solid rather than open. While minor mint mark chips are common, a perfectly filled-in P, combined with other strike errors, is a popular niche for modern error collectors. Additionally, look for die clashes, where the eagle's wings might faintly appear on Washington's face. These mechanical mishaps are highly visual and make for great educational moments for your viewers to check their own change. A truly rare and dramatic variety for this year is the 1983 P Double Die Reverse DDR. On these rare pieces, you will see distinct doubling on the lettering of United States of America and quarter dollar. Unlike common machine doubling, a true double die shows clear separation and notches in the letters. These coins are so rare that even in circulated condition, they can sell for a significant premium. For a YouTuber, showing a side-by-side comparison of a regular eagle reverse and a double die reverse is the best way to explain why some collectors are willing to pay hundreds of dollars for what looks like an ordinary coin. Beyond doubling, the 1983 P is known for spitting eagle, die clashes and cuds or die cracks. Because the mint was working the coin dies to their absolute limit in 1983, the metal often fractured. A spitting eagle is a die crack that runs from the eagle's beak down toward the arrows, making it look like the bird is spitting. These narrative errors are high-demand items because they have catchy names and are easy for the average person to identify. Explaining these in your video encourages your audience to keep their coins and look closer, which builds a loyal following of cherry-pickers. The weight and composition of the 1983 P can also hide a secret fortune. Standard quarters weigh 5.67 grams, but collectors look for 1983 quarters struck on wrong planchets. There are legendary examples of quarters accidentally struck on nickel blanks or even 10-cent dime blanks. These error coins will be smaller, lighter, or a different color than a standard quarter. If you find a 1983 P that is unusually thin or has a magnetic pull, indicating it might be a foreign planchet, you are looking at a coin that could be worth thousands. This weight test is a professional secret that adds a layer of expert advice to your content. Tunning is another major factor that drives collector demand for the 1983 P, because many of these coins were stored in paper bags or rolls rather than protective plastic. They often developed unique chemical reactions. Collectors pay massive premiums for monster-toned 1983 P quarters that show vibrant rainbows of blue, violet, and gold. In the world of high-end numismatics, an MS-67 quarter with beautiful rainbow tunning is much more valuable than a white, silver-colored one. This turns the coin from a simple piece of money into a piece of natural art that collectors are desperate to own. To summarize for your channel, the 1983 P Washington quarter is the ultimate sleeper coin. It is the perfect example of how historical events, like the cancellation of mint sets, can create rarity out of commonality. Whether it's a high-grade gem, a spitting eagle die crack, or a massive double die, the 1983 P is the one coin every American should be checking for in their laundry or car cup holder. By showing your viewers exactly what to look for, you are teaching them that wealth isn't always in gold and silver. Sometimes, it's hidden in the copper and nickel of 1983. Next coin. The 1981 P Washington quarter is a masterpiece of modern numismatics that hides extreme value behind its humble appearance. While many casual observers believe coins from the 1980s are simply pocket change, the Philadelphia Strike from 1981 is a specific target for high-end collectors because of a unique production phenomenon. During this year, the United States Mint was under intense pressure to produce massive quantities of coins, which often led to significant mechanical errors and the preservation of only a few perfect specimens. For your YouTube audience, the real hook is that while 600 million were made, finding one in elite condition is like finding a diamond in a coal mine. The most legendary rarity for this year is the 1981 P flip-over double strike error. This is a dramatic numismatic disaster where a coin is struck once, flips over within the machine, and is struck again by the dies. This creates a chaotic and beautiful visual where the images of Washington and the eagle overlap. One such specimen recently made headlines in the collecting world by selling for a staggering $7,000 at auction. In your video, you should highlight that bad condition or messy-looking coins from this year should never be ignored, as they might actually be a multi-thousand-dollar double strike hiding in plain sight. Another extremely rare variation that drives collector demand is the 1981 P quarter struck on a dime planchet. Because the Philadelphia Mint also produces smaller denominations, a tiny number of quarter dies accidentally hammered down onto thin, small dime blanks. These coins are smaller than a regular quarter, lack the copper-colored edge, and often have the outer words of the design cut off. For a collector, these wrong planchet errors are the ultimate luxury item, often fetching prices between $500 and $1,000 because they represent a total failure of the mint's quality control. In the world of high-grade registry sets, the 1981p becomes a condition rarity. While the average worn-out quarter is only worth face value, a 1981p that has been preserved in its original mint state, MS luster, can be worth a fortune. Professional grading services like PCGS have recorded sales of 1981p quarters in MS67 grade for over $700. If you find a coin that looks like it belongs in a luxury hotel vault, perfectly shiny with no scratches on Washington's face, you may be holding a coin that serious investors are desperate to buy to complete their prestigious collections. The P-Mint mark itself is a source of great interest for era hunters due to the filled mint mark variety. In 1981, the dies used in Philadelphia were often overworked, causing the center of the P to break and fill with metal. This creates a blob P that looks solid rather than having a clear hole in the letter. While many people think this is damage, it is actually a recognized die break error. Collectors are particularly demanding of coins that combine this filled mint mark with a sharp strike on the eagle's feathers, making these dual-feature coins a high-value niche in the market. For those watching your video to learn about double die errors, 1981 is a goldmine. The 1981p double die obverse, DDO, is characterized by distinct thickness or ghosting on the letters of In God We Trust and the date, 1981. Unlike the common machine doubling seen on many coins, a true 1981 DDO shows clear separation at the corners of the letters. These coins are highly sought after by numismatists who enjoy the thrill of the hunt, as these errors were missed by the mint's inspectors and can often be found by searching through old jars of change. A very sophisticated error to look for on the 1981p is the off-center strike. This happens when the metal blank is not perfectly centered when the heavy dies come down. If the design is shifted by 50% or more, leaving a large blank crescent of metal, the value of the coin skyrockets. These coins are rare because they usually jammed the machines, so very few ever made it into the hands of the public. Explaining this to your audience shows that even a broken-looking coin can be a luxury asset if the break happened inside the mint's walls. To conclude your deep dive into the 1981p, you must mention the importance of original mint luster. Most 1981 quarters have a dull gray appearance from years of being handled in stores and banks. However, a coin that still possesses its cartwheel shine, where light rotates around the surface like the spokes of a wheel, is a rare survivor. For a YouTuber, the message is clear. The 1981p is not just a quarter, it is a piece of industrial history. Whether it is a $7,000 double strike or a $1,000 dime planchet error, this year proves that value is found in the mistakes of the past. The next time you see a 1981 quarter, look past the scratches. You might be holding a $7,000 error, so subscribe now to stay ahead of the game. Stick around, because in the next video, we're revealing a rare coin that collectors are calling the Holy Grail of the 80s. Next coin. The 1995 D Washington quarter is a numismatic sleeper that has recently become a high-priority target for elite collectors. While the Denver Mint struck over 1.1 billion of these coins, the vast majority were released into the heavy machinery of the American economy, leaving very few survivors in pristine condition. For a YouTube audience, the real story isn't just about the date, but about the survivorship bias. Because the U.S. Mint's quality control in the mid-90s was focused on quantity over quality, finding a 1995 D that isn't covered in bag scratches from coins hitting each other is an incredibly difficult task for professional hunters. In the world of high-stakes auctions, the 1995 D is a condition rarity that rivals the value of much older coins. While a regular circulated version is worth exactly 25 cents. A specimen graded at MS67 Plus by PCGS sold for an astonishing $1,293. This price tag exists because, in the grading scale of 1 to 70, a 67 Plus represents a coin that is nearly flawless to the naked eye, possessing a level of satin-like luster that is rarely seen on 90s coinage. For your viewers, the lesson is clear. If they find a 1995 D that looks like it was just pulled from a luxury hotel vault, they should stop and handle it with extreme care. One of the most sought-after errors for this specific year is the 1995 D Double Die Obverse DDO. This isn't your typical faint doubling. Collectors specifically hunt for thickness and clear separation in the letters of Liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust." On some rare examples, the 1995 date also shows a distinct ghosting effect. Because this error was not widely reported when the coins first hit the streets, many of these valuable pieces are still hiding in old jars and couch cushions, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to rescue them and claim a triple-digit payout. The 1995 D is also famous for wrong planchet errors, which are the ultimate luxury items in the numismatic world. During production, a stray blank intended for a different denomination occasionally finds its way into the quarter press. There are documented cases of 1995 quarters being struck on nickel or even dime blanks. These coins will be underweight, the wrong color, or have portions of the design missing from the edges. A 1995 D struck on a nickel planchet is a massive rarity that can command prices between $500 and $1,500 at auction, depending on how much of the design is visible. Another fascinating anomaly to share with your audience is the missing clad layer error. This occurs when the outer nickel-copper skin of the coin fails to bond to the copper core before the coin is struck. The result is a 1995 D quarter that is bright, fiery red on one side, the pure copper side, and normal silver on the other. Unlike a coin that is simply dirty or rusted, a genuine missing clad layer will show the full, sharp details of Washington or the eagle in the copper surface. These red quarters are highly demanded and can easily sell for over $100 even in used condition. Collectors also pay a premium for off-center strikes from the 1995 Denver run. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly fed into the striking chamber, causing the design to be pushed to one side. If more than 20% of the design is missing and the date, 1995, is still clearly visible alongside the D mint mark, the coin becomes a highly tradable asset. These are visually stunning errors that make for perfect YouTube thumbnail shots, as they look completely different from the money people see every day, yet they are 100% authentic products of the United States Mint. The reverse of the coin, featuring the eagle and the E pluribus unum motto, is a prime location for die cuts and die breaks. By 1995, the dies were being pushed to their absolute limits, causing the steel to crack. If you see a raised blob of metal on the rim or a jagged line running through the eagle's wings, you have found a die break. While minor cracks are common, a large cud, where a piece of the die actually fell off, is a major find. Error specialists are constantly demanding these broken die coins because each one is a unique thumbprint of a machine's failure. To wrap up your video, you should emphasize that the 1995 D quarter proves that rarity is often hidden in plain sight. It is a coin that bridges the gap between the old-school hobby and modern treasure hunting. Whether it is a $1,000 high-grade gem, a double die, or a copper-centered error, the 1995 D is a testament to the fact that every time you receive change, you might be holding a piece of history. Remind your audience to check the weight, look for doubling, and never spend a 1995 D until they have checked it under a magnifying glass. That ordinary 1995 quarter in your pocket could be a $1,000 treasure in disguise. Stay tuned, because in the next video, we're going to reveal a coin so rare it was once banned from public hands. Next coin. The 1993 D Washington quarter is a masterpiece of modern minting that often escapes the notice of the average person, yet it holds a prestigious position in high-end numismatic circles. Minted at the Denver facility, this coin was part of a production run exceeding $645 million, but do not let the high numbers deceive you. The true value of the 1995D lies in its condition rarity, as finding a specimen that has avoided the brutal wear and tear of circulation is becoming increasingly difficult. For your YouTube audience, the narrative should focus on the fact that while billions were made, only a handful exist in a state of luxury perfection that collectors are willing to bid thousands of dollars for at professional auctions. A critical point of correction for your viewers is the bicentennial confusion. While the famous dual-dated 1776 1976 quarters are the most well-known bicentennial coins, collectors often group the early 90s quarters like the 1993D as part of the pre-state quarter era. This era is considered the gold standard for traditional American design before the 50-state quarters program changed the face of U.S. coinage forever. Because 1993 was a year of intense economic activity, most of these coins were tossed into vending machines and laundry mats, meaning a gem, uncirculated 1993D is a rare survivor of a bygone era of American commerce. For the treasure hunt aspect of your video, you must highlight the rare 1993D double die obverse DDO. This is a highly sought-after error where the stamping process creates a visible thickness or secondary image on the words "In God We Trust" and the date 1993. Unlike minor mechanical doubling, a true 1993D DDO shows clear separation and is a major prize for numismatists. Finding one of these in a roll of coins is like finding a luxury watch at a garage sale. It requires a trained eye and can turn a 25-cent coin into a piece worth hundreds of dollars. The 1993D is also notorious for struck-through grease errors, which create a unique and ghostly appearance on the coin's surface. This happens when heavy machinery grease fills the recesses of the die, preventing the full design from being transferred to the metal. On some rare 1993D quarters, this results in the phrase "In God We Trust," with a C instead of a G, or parts of Washington's hair appearing completely smooth. These silent errors are incredibly popular on YouTube because they are easy to spot once you know what to look for, and collectors pay a premium for these distinct manufacturing mistakes. Beyond surface errors, the most elite 1993D quarters are those that achieve a grade of MS67 or higher. In recent years, a 1993D Washington quarter graded MS67 Plus by PCGS sold for nearly $1,500. This is a staggering price for a modern coin and is driven by registry set collectors who are engaged in a fierce competition to own the finest known example of every year. In your video, you can compare a dull, circulated 1993D to a high-luster, proof-like business strike to show your audience why eye appeal is the most important factor in determining the luxury value of a coin. Another rare phenomenon for this year is the clipped planchet era, where the circular blank was cut incorrectly, leaving a crescent-shaped void in the side of the coin. While many people might think a broken coin is worthless, era collectors consider a 1993D with a genuine mint clip to be a high-demand item. For a YouTuber, demonstrating how to verify a real clip by checking the Blakesley effect, where the rim opposite the clip is also weak, is a great way to provide expert-level value to your viewers and keep them engaged with the technical side of the hobby. The reverse of the 1993D, featuring the heraldic eagle, is a prime spot for die clash errors. This occurs when the upper and lower dies collide without a coin blank in between, leaving faint impressions of Washington's profile on the eagle's side. Some collectors have even identified neck wound errors on the 1993D, where a die gouge makes it look like the eagle has a scar or mark on its neck. These specialized varieties are what make the 1993D a numismatic playground, offering endless opportunities for collectors to find something unique that the rest of the world has missed. To conclude your segment, emphasize that the 1993D Washington quarter is a perfect example of why you should never overlook ordinary money. From $1,500 high-grade specimens to rare, in God We Trust, grease errors, and dramatic clipped planchets, this coin offers a fortune to those who take the time to look. It is a coin that demands respect in the numismatic world and serves as a reminder that luxury and rarity are often hidden behind the face of a president we see every single day. The 1993 D quarter is proof that a small D can mean a big payday. Get ready, because in the next video, we're going to hunt for a coin that was struck so poorly it became worth more than a brand new car. Next coin. The 1965 Washington quarter is the single most important transition coin in American history, marking the year the United States Mint officially abandoned silver for circulating coins. Before this year, quarters were 90% silver, but due to rising metal prices, the government switched to a clad composition of copper and nickel. For your YouTube audience, the drama of 1965 lies in the chaotic overlap between the old silver blanks and the new 1965 dies. This overlap created the transitional silver era, a legendary mistake where a few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets. Finding one of these is the ultimate lottery ticket of coin roll hunting, as they are worth thousands of dollars. To identify if a 1965 quarter is one of these rare silver errors, you must ignore the bad condition of the surface and focus on the physical properties. A standard 1965 quarter is clad and weighs exactly 5.67 grams, showing a distinct copper-red stripe on the reeded edge. However, the rare silver era has a solid silver-colored edge with no copper visible and weighs significantly more at 6.25 grams. For a collector, a silver 1965 quarter is a high-luxury item. A specimen graded XF45, well-circulated, sold for over $4,000, while a mint state version famously brought in $16,800 at auction. The absence of mint marks is another unique feature of the 1965 quarter that often confuses new collectors. During this period, the U.S. Mint intentionally removed all D, Denver, and S, San Francisco, marks to discourage people from hoarding coins during a national shortage. Even though over 1.8 billion were minted, 1965 quarters in gem condition are incredibly rare because they were used heavily in commerce. While a regular used 1965 quarter is worth only 25 cents, one that has been kept in a luxury-grade state, like MS-68, can be worth over $5,000 because so few survived without scratches or wear. Beyond the silver era, the 1965 double die obverse, DDO, is a high-priority variety for numismatic experts. On these coins, the letters "In Liberty" and the phrase "In God We Trust" show distinct doubling, appearing thicker or having clear notches at the corners of the letters. This is not to be confused with common machine doubling, which looks like a flat shadow. True die doubling is a structural mistake in the die itself. These 1965 DDO quarters are highly demanded by specialists and can sell for hundreds of dollars, even if the coin has been slightly circulated. Another major bad condition winner is the 1965 quarter struck on a dime planchet. This happens when a tiny dime-sized silver or clad blank enters the quarter press. The resulting coin is smaller than a normal quarter, often missing the outer letters of the design, and looks like a deformed, miniature version of the coin. Despite its ugly appearance, era collectors consider this a luxury find. Because these are so visually distinct, they make for incredible YouTube content and can fetch $2,000 to $7,000 depending on the metal content and the grade. Regarding the bicentennial confusion, many casual hunters mistake the 1965 quarter for the 1776-1976 bicentennial issue because they both represent a change in the series. However, the 1965 is the true bicentennial of the clad era, as it birthed the modern coinage system we use today. Some 1965 quarters were issued in special mint sets, SMS, instead of traditional proof sets. These SMS coins have a satin-like, high-quality finish and are prized for their deep cameo appearance, where Washington's face looks frosted against a mirror-like background. An SMS 1965 quarter with this contrast is a rare, luxury-level specimen. A highly specialized error to look for is the struck-through variety, where a piece of thread, grease, or a metal scrap got between the die and the coin blank. This leaves a deep, permanent impression or a missing part of the design. While some might think a coin with a missing E in E pluribus unum is just damaged, a genuine struck through grease error from 1965 is a verified mint mistake. These oddities are perfect for YouTube tutorials because they teach viewers to look closer at the tiny details that others might ignore as junk. In conclusion, the 1965 Washington quarter is the king of pocket change treasures. It represents a pivot point in history where junk copper met luxury silver. Whether you are hunting for the 6.25-gram silver transitional era, a high-grade MS-68 clad survivor, or a dramatic off-center strike, this year offers a fortune to those with a scale and a magnifying glass. By showing your audience that even a common-looking 1965 quarter could be a $16,000 masterpiece, you turn every handful of change into a potential goldmine. The 1965 quarter is the ultimate proof that looks can be deceiving, that silver secret could be worth $16,000 to turn your pocket change into a payday. Keep hunting, because in our next video, we're going to uncover a coin so rare that even most banks don't know it exists. Next coin. 1966 Washington quarter is a masterpiece of hidden value that often masquerades as a common pocket coin. Struck during the second year of the clad era, these coins were produced in massive quantities, over 821 million, to replace the silver coins being hoarded by the public. However, the true rarity of the 1966 quarter lies in its quality and the specific circumstances of its birth at the Philadelphia Mint. For your YouTube audience, the narrative should center on the fact that despite the high numbers, finding a specimen that has escaped the bag marks and scratches of circulation is an incredibly rare feat, turning an ordinary 25-cent piece into a high-stakes treasure for elite collectors. The record-breaking value of the 1966 quarter is enough to shock any viewer. In May 2023, a near-flawless specimen graded MS-68 Plus by PCGS sold for a staggering $21,000. This is the luxury hotel of quarters, a coin so pristine it looks like it was minted yesterday and handled with silk gloves. In the world of numismatics, this is known as a condition rarity. Because 1966 quarters were not included in traditional uncirculated mint sets, almost all of them were released into heavy bags where they banged against each other, creating tiny nicks. Finding a 1966 quarter with smooth, lustrous surfaces and sharp details on Washington's hair is the primary goal for anyone looking to strike it rich with this date. For collectors who enjoy the thrill of the hunt, the 1966 Double Die Reverse DDR is the ultimate prize. On these rare coins, the dies used to strike the reverse were doubled, leading to clear, thick lettering on the words United States of America and quarter dollar. This is not just a minor smudge. It is a structural error that makes the letters look blocky and expanded. When showing this on YouTube, use a macro lens to highlight the notches in the corners of the letters, as this visual evidence is what separates a $500 error coin from a standard quarter. This specific variety is a high-demand item that remains one of the most popular cherry-picking targets in the hobby. Another fascinating chapter for the 1966 quarter is the special mint set SMS versions. Between 1965 and 1967, the mint did not produce proof sets, offering these SMS coins instead. They are characterized by a satin-like, almost mirror-like finish that is far superior to regular coins. The holy grail of SMS quarters is the deep cameo, DCAM variety, where the portrait of Washington appears frosted and white against a dark, reflective background. These DCAM 1966 quarters are extremely scarce and are considered luxury assets, often selling for over $1,000 because they represent the absolute peak of the mint's artistic capability during the mid-60s. Regarding bad condition coins, your viewers should be warned about environmental damage versus genuine errors. Many 1966 quarters found in the ground or in cup holders develop a dark, charcoal gray or black patina, sometimes called a black beauty effect. While some of these are naturally toned and beautiful, others are simply corroded. However, if you find a 1966 quarter that is off-center, meaning the design is pushed to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal, you have found a genuine mint error that is worth hundreds of dollars, even in worn condition. Collectors demand these struck wrong coins because they are unique industrial accidents that were never supposed to leave the factory. A very rare and high-demand error for 1966 is the struck-through variety. This occurs when a piece of debris, like a stray metal shaving or a piece of cloth, gets stuck to the die and leaves an indentation in the coin. Sometimes this can make parts of the phrase "In God We Trust" disappear or appear distorted. Unlike damage that happens after the coin is made, a struck-through error leaves the surrounding metal looking smooth and original. Explaining this distinction is a great way to educate your audience on how to spot a real treasure versus a damaged coin that has simply been run over by a car. The 1966 quarter also lacks a mint mark, which is a key part of its history. During the coin shortage of 1964, the government blamed collectors for hoarding coins, so they removed the D and S marks to make all coins look the same. This means every 1966 quarter was born in Philadelphia. For a YouTuber, this adds a layer of mystery. You aren't looking for a rare mint location, but rather for a rare state of being. This makes the 1966 quarter a true test of a collector's skill, as you must judge the coin based on its own beauty, its errors, and its physical perfections rather than just a letter on the back. To conclude your video, remind your viewers that the 1966 Washington quarter is a survivor of a transitional era in American finance. It is a coin that proved the U.S. could move away from silver without losing the prestige of its currency. Whether you are holding a $21,000 MS-68 Plus gem, a $1,000 Deep Cameo SMS, or a rare double die, the 1966 quarter is a reminder that value is not always about what a coin is made of, but the story it tells and the flaws it carries. Always check the rim, use a magnifying glass on the letters, and never spend a 1966 quarter until you've checked it for that hidden, luxury-level fortune. The 1966 quarter is a $21,000 treasure hiding in plain sight, and join our hunt for the next big score. Stay tuned, because in our next video, we're uncovering a secret variety that most experts have completely overlooked. Next coin. The 1996 D Washington quarter is a remarkable piece of American history that has recently entered the spotlight for its condition rarity and several secretive mint errors. While over 926 million of these quarters were struck at the Denver Mint, the mid-90s represented a period where the United States Mint focused on speed over precision. This resulted in a sea of circulated coins that are now worn and battered, making any specimen found in truly pristine, untouched condition a high-value asset for serious numismatic collectors. For your YouTube audience, the 1996 D is the perfect example of how a coin everyone has seen before can suddenly be worth hundreds of dollars if it possesses a luxury hotel level of shine and detail. The most elite version of the 1996 D is the MS-67 Plus grade, which has become a legendary target for registry set collectors. In recent high-end auctions, a 1996 D quarter in this nearly perfect state sold for over $1,200. This massive price gap between a common 25-cent coin and a $1,000 treasure is due to the bagmark phenomenon. Because these coins were transporting in heavy ballistic bags, they almost always have tiny nicks on Washington's cheek or the eagle's wings. If you find a 1996 D with a surface as smooth as glass and a vibrant, original mint luster, you are holding a condition rarity that professional investors are desperate to acquire. One of the rarest and most discussed errors for the 1996 D is the incomplete clad layer or partial copper error. This happens when the outer nickel-copper layer doesn't fully cover the copper core before the coin is struck. Unlike a coin that is simply dirty, a genuine 1996 D with a missing clad layer will show a sharp, fiery copper color on a portion of the coin, while the rest remains silver-colored. Because these errors are visually striking and represent a significant malfunction at the Denver Mint, they are highly demanded in the error collecting community and can sell for $200 to $500 depending on how much copper is exposed. For those who enjoy cherry-picking microscopic details, the 1996D offers a very rare double-die reverse DDR variety. Collectors hunt for doubling on the eagle's tail feathers and the lettering of E pluribus unum. While not as famous as the errors of the 1960s, these mid-90s doubling errors are rare because the Mint's technology had improved, making mistakes less frequent. This makes any confirmed 1996D double die a modern rarity. When explaining this to your viewers, remind them that they need a high-powered magnifying glass to spot the notching on the serifs of the letters, which is the signature of a true double die. Another high-demand anomaly found in 1996 D quarters is the struck-through grease error. This occurs when a buildup of industrial lubricant fills the die, causing parts of the design to appear mushy or entirely missing. In 1996, some Denver quarters were released where the D mint mark or parts of In God We Trust are nearly invisible. While many beginners mistake this for wear, a professional collector knows that if the rest of the coin is shiny but one word is missing, it is a valuable Mint error. These ghost letters make for excellent YouTube content because they are fascinating to see and easy for viewers to understand. The 1996D is also a prime candidate for off-center strikes. These happen when the planchet, the metal blank, isn't centered in the press, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted to the edge, often leaving a blank crescent. For a 1996D to be worth a premium, the date, 1996, and the D mint mark must still be visible on the shifted design. These are high-luxury error items because they are so rare to find in circulation. Most were caught by inspectors and destroyed, so the survivors are prized as escaped treasures that command prices of $150 or more. Unique aspect of the 1996D for your video is the die crack or die gouge varieties. During this production year, the Denver dies were used until they literally started to break apart. Collectors look for a spiked head error, where a crack in the die creates a raised line of metal extending from Washington's head to the rim. These narrative errors are popular because they give the coin a unique personality. While they may not be as expensive as a silver error, they are collector demanding because they are unique pieces of the manufacturing story that can be found with just a bit of patience and a good eye. To conclude your deep dive into the 1996D, you should highlight that this coin is the bridge to the famous state quarter era that began just 3 years later. It represents the peak of the traditional Washington design and carries the weight of an era where billions were made, but few were saved. Whether you are hunting for a $1,200 high-grade specimen, a red, copper-clad era, or a ghost letter grease strike, the 1996D is a goldmine for anyone willing to look closer. It proves that wealth is often hidden in the most common places, waiting for a collector to recognize its true luxury value. The 1996D is proof that your spare change could be a hidden paycheck. To join the hunt for these rare modern treasures, keep your eyes peeled because in the next video, we're going to uncover a coin so rare it was once mistaken for a fake. Coin number 10. The 1980D Washington Quarter is a fascinating cornerstone of modern American numismatics, representing a period of significant change at the United States Mint. While the Denver facility struck over 518 million of these coins, making them common in everyday circulation, the true rarity lies in the exceptional gem, survivors, and unique factory errors. For a YouTube audience, the 1980D story is a masterclass in how a 25-cent coin can transform into a $10,000 asset. This specific year is historically significant because it followed the Mint's decision to finally add the P Mint mark to Philadelphia coins, making the D for Denver part of a newly standardized system that collectors track with extreme precision. The most explosive value in the 1980D series comes from condition rarity, where the physical state of the coin dictates a price far beyond its face value. Because these quarters were released in heavy ballistic bags, most suffered from bag marks and surface abrasions almost instantly. While a typical circulated 1980D is worth only its weight in copper and nickel, a specimen graded at MS 68, Mint State 68, is a legendary rarity. In fact, a single 1980D quarter in this nearly perfect condition was once valued at a staggering $10,000. For a collector, finding a 1980D with deep, original mint luster and a flawless portrait of Washington is like finding a luxury treasure hidden in plain sight. The 1980D is particularly famous among era hunters for the struck on a 5-cent planchet mistake. This occurs when a nickel blank accidentally enters the quarter pressing machine. Because a nickel is smaller and thicker than a quarter, the design often appears cut off at the edges, and the coin will lack the copper-colored stripe on the rim. These wrong planchet errors are highly demanded by luxury coin specialists. A 1980D struck on a nickel blank can easily fetch between $200 and $1,000 at auction. Showing your viewers how to weigh their coins, a standard 5.67G versus a 5G nickel weight is the best way to prove they have found a genuine numismatic fortune. Another rare anomaly to highlight for your channel is the filled D or clogged mint mark error. In 1980, the dies at the Denver Mint were often overworked, causing the small hole in the letter D to fill with grease or metal debris. This results in a mint mark that looks like a solid blob rather than a sharp letter. While common to some extent, a total fill combined with a sharp strike on the rest of the coin is a popular collector demand. These coins serve as a visual thumbprint of a machine failure, making them a staple for anyone looking to build a unique and messy era collection that tells a story of industrial chaos. For those looking for double die variations, the 1980D offers a specialized double die reverse, DDR, that many experts are now beginning to catalog more closely. On these coins, you should look for distinct doubling on the eagle's wings and the lettering of United States of America. True doubling is a structural flaw in the die, not just a slippery strike, and it requires a 10x magnifying glass to confirm. For a YouTuber, showing the notching on the serifs of the letters is the perfect educational hook, as a verified 1980D DDR can command a significant premium over any standard business strike found in a bankroll. The 1980D is also a prime candidate for missing clad layer errors, where the silver-colored nickel skin fails to bond to the copper core. This creates a striking two-toned coin that is bright copper red on one side and silver on the other. Unlike a coin that is simply rusted or bad condition, a genuine missing clad layer will show the full, sharp details of the strike in the copper metal. These coins are considered luxury errors because of their beautiful, fiery appearance. They are highly sought after in the market, often selling for $150 to $400, depending on how much of the original copper surface is exposed. Off-center strikes are another high-value target for the 1980D quarter. This happens when the planchet isn't perfectly centered between the dies, causing the design to be pushed to the side and leaving a blank, crescent-shaped area of metal. If the coin is more than 20% off-center, but still clearly shows the 1980 date and the D mint mark, its value skyrockets. These errors are rare because they usually jam the high-speed presses and were destroyed by the mint. Any survivor is a collector's dream, and showing an off-center 1980D in a video is a guaranteed way to showcase the impossible mistakes that can make a coin worth a fortune. In summary, the 1980D Washington quarter is a numismatic giant hiding in the shadow of more common dates. Whether you are hunting for a $10,000 MS-68 specimen, a 5-cent planchet error, or a spitting eagle die crack, this coin offers something for every level of collector. It represents the transition into the modern era of the mint, while still carrying the old-school errors that made coin collecting a national obsession. By teaching your audience to look for weight, luster, and the filled D, you are giving them the tools to find a luxury asset in their next handful of spare change. That's a wrap on the 1980D quarter, but the hunt never stops. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's video where we reveal another massive hidden treasure. Get your magnifying glasses ready, because our next coin could be the one that changes your life.